There's a phenomenon many of us have experienced. People who seem distant, indifferent, or even dismissive suddenly start paying attention when we pull away. It's almost as if, paradoxically, we become more valuable in their absence. But what's really happening when someone starts missing you only after you've distanced yourself? In this article, we'll explore the psychology behind this behavior, why absence creates desire, how focusing on yourself can change the dynamics in your relationships, and how Stoicism can help guide you through these situations with clarity and wisdom. Chapter 1: The Psychology of Absence and Desire. One of the most universal truths in human relationships is that people tend to appreciate what they no longer have. This is known as the scarcity principle, a concept famously explored by psychologist Robert Cialdini in his book Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion. Essentially, people tend to place a higher value on things that are scarce or hard to come by. When you're constantly present in someone's life, readily available at any moment, they may unconsciously begin to take you for granted. Your constant availability can create an illusion of permanence, making the other person believe that they can access you anytime they want. Over time, this can diminish your perceived value in their eyes. However, when you step back, when you remove yourself from the equation, an immediate shift occurs. Suddenly, the other person has to deal with the reality of your absence, and this often triggers a realization they miss you. But why does this happen? 1.1 The principle of emotional space. Humans have a tendency to form emotional attachments based on proximity and availability. When you spend a lot of time with someone, they may begin to associate your presence with comfort, stability, or even a sense of control. However, when that consistent presence is taken away, it creates emotional space. In this space, the other person begins to reflect on your importance and the gap left behind by your absence. Absence makes the heart grow fonder because it creates a space in which the other person can no longer rely on your energy to fulfill their emotional needs. This creates a longing, a craving for the comfort that your presence once provided. 1.2 The contrast effect. In behavioral psychology, there's a phenomenon known as the contrast effect. This principle states that people's perceptions of something can change based on comparison with something else. If you've always been there, they have no contrast to appreciate what it's like when you're not. By removing yourself, you introduce contrast into the relationship dynamic. This shift in perspective can make the other person reevaluate how much they value you. Chapter 2: The Power of Focusing on Yourself. One of the most effective ways to shift the dynamics in any relationship is to shift your focus inward, toward yourself. When we spend too much time worrying about what others think, how they feel, or how we can meet their needs, we often lose sight of our own well-being and growth. However, when you make the conscious decision to focus on your own self-improvement, happiness, and peace of mind, you inevitably change the energy you project into your relationships. 2.1 Building your self-worth. When you consistently prioritize others, you may inadvertently send the message that your own needs and desires are secondary. Over time, this can erode your self-worth and create a dynamic in which others take your efforts for granted. However, by shifting your focus to yourself, whether it's through pursuing your passions, setting personal goals, or engaging in self-care, you rebuild your self-esteem. This newfound confidence radiates outward, and others begin to notice the change in you. They may even start to miss the version of you they took for granted. 2.2 The Law of Attraction. The law of attraction suggests that the energy you put out into the universe is the energy you attract back. When you focus on yourself and cultivate inner peace, joy, and confidence, you attract people who are drawn to that energy. Conversely, when you're overly focused on pleasing others or seeking external validation, you may attract individuals who take advantage of your generosity without reciprocating. By focusing on yourself, you not only raise your own vibrational energy but also set a higher standard for the relationships you allow into your life. People who once took your presence for granted may begin to see you in a new light and start missing the energy and positivity you bring into their lives. Chapter 3: Creating Healthy Distance and Boundaries. A critical part of the process of making someone miss you lies in creating healthy distance and setting boundaries. In relationships, whether romantic, platonic, or professional, boundaries are essential for maintaining mutual respect and ensuring that both parties' needs are met. 3.1 The Importance of Boundaries. Setting boundaries can feel uncomfortable, especially if you're used to being overly accommodating or available. However, boundaries are a necessary part of any healthy relationship. They help to establish clear expectations and prevent resentment from building over time. When you start setting boundaries, you send a clear message: I value myself and my time, and I expect others to do the same. People will respect you more when they see that you're not willing to overextend yourself for the sake of maintaining their approval. In turn, they may start to realize the value you bring to their lives when you're no longer as readily available. 3.2 The concept of emotional detachment. In Stoicism, there's a practice known as emotional detachment, which is the ability to remain calm and composed in the face of external circumstances. By practicing emotional detachment, you learn to control your reactions and prevent your emotions from dictating your actions. When you become emotionally detached, you no longer place your sense of happiness or worth in the hands of others. Instead, you cultivate inner peace and self-sufficiency. This shift in mindset can cause others to view you in a new light, often resulting in them missing the emotional support and stability you once provided. Chapter 4: The role of Stoicism in handling relationships. Stoicism offers timeless wisdom on how to approach relationships with balance, self-respect, and emotional intelligence. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus famously said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This idea is particularly relevant when navigating the dynamics of missing someone and being missed. For point 1, focusing on what you can control. One of the core tenets of Stoicism is the distinction between what we can and cannot control. In relationships, we cannot control how others feel, think, or behave. However, we can control our own actions, thoughts, and reactions. By focusing on your own growth and well-being, rather than trying to manipulate or influence someone else's feelings, you naturally start to create an environment in which people are more likely to appreciate your presence. They may start to miss you, but your peace of mind is not dependent on their response.